What is up, everybody? I've realized I'm probably going to need to get some background music at some point. Although, I never find anything that I like to use. There's a lot of stuff out there, but half the stuff you use, whether it's through Filmora or whatever your chosen film editing software is, they tend to still end up getting flagged by either Twitch or YouTube for copyright stuff. And when you're trying to be monetized, it's just a big pain in the butt. It's better to just contract from somebody and find somebody who can make you an original piece and go from there. Doesn't always work out that way, but in some cases it does. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. So I started sort of exploring this a couple of months ago before I went on the road, which is doing a segment where I just hang out, go through Twitch, go through Twitter and YouTube and stuff, and instead of doing my reaction videos in the void, do them in a live space. Sometimes we do them live, but more often than not, I'm doing them off the air. But I've been doing some consulting recently and talking to people. What's up, Pix? You're early? No, you're not early. I'm actually late today. I'm about 45 minutes late because I was helping Chris with Pippin, who is still having issues with her um, abscess, my kitty cat. So I was outside with her and got a little sidetracked because we're playing in the grass. But I realized I finally need to make my way back to the desk, so you're all good. Anyway, I've already done some video production for the day, but we're going to come in here and we're going to go through Twitter. We're going to go through YouTube. We're going to react to some stuff. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to watch some videos. We're going to prep some stuff for later on in the week. We've already got some videos already scheduled to be coming out this week, and we may even play some games. We might play something new. We might play some more Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. We'll see. Big thing is working my way towards Flintlock, the Siege of Dawn, which we have a new video over here we're going to be watching shortly, which is this one, Prize Fight at Exile's Cradle. This video just went live. It's not 7 minutes ago. Let me refresh here because I haven't had this tab open forever. It went live about 30 minutes ago, so we're going to be going through this at some point. Not right now, but at some point we're going to go through this. This is the latest Flintlock Siege of Dawn video. I'm going to be playing that starting Thursday, so for those of you who want to watch gameplay and everything else, we'll do a reaction video to this here in a little bit, and then we're going to get back to all the other things we do. But in the meantime, let's go over onto Twitter and just check out a little bit of what we got going on this morning. What makes a paladin? That's going to depend on who you talk to. Um, really, honestly, I think that like if you look at Dragonlance paladins, like Sturm, like definitely devout, but then you have other games where paladins are just basically plate wearers with casters. I don't know, man. Tasha from over at Funcom says they've got some exciting opportunities at Gamescom coming up for Dune Awakening and Aloft, and to reach out if you're interested. Their team has been ramping up the Dune Awakening press and PR with events. I know they've been working with some cosplayers and doing some fun stuff there. So if anybody's going to be going to Gamescom and you're interested in Dune Awakening, you should definitely hook up with them. I've also seen some people cover some pretty interesting, like Force Gaming got a hands-on look at the demo, I think at PAX East a few months back. So if you're interested in Dune Awakening, which I am, you should definitely take a look at that and get to meet with them because they send their whole crew to the conventions. They've been making the circuit pretty recently. Granico says, I'm really enjoying Starfield. The game is so relaxing to me. I stayed away from so long due to so many people saying it was bad. It's difficult to take anyone's opinions at face value anymore. I could see it not being for everyone, but I find it pretty charming so far. Well, that's the thing, Granico. You shouldn't take anybody's opinion at face value, especially in a day and age where rage bait pays so much money for people. It's really easy to make rage bait content and just hate on everything. And because that's the stuff that tends to be the most popular, it gets filtered up through the top of the algorithms, and you end up seeing that first. I think it was, I can't remember who I was listening to the other day. Was talking about how, for an example, last year, I think it was last year, Hogwarts Legacy was the best selling title of the year bar none, hands down, undisputed victory. It sold tens of millions of units more than its nearest competitor. So Hogwarts Legacy was an absolutely overwhelming success from a critical and commercial standpoint. But if you paid attention to social media during the time that Hogwarts Legacy was going on sale and making the rounds, all you would have seen was the boycott campaigns trying to get the game canceled because of this, that, or the other, and people's political agendas. None of which mattered at the end of the day because it shouldn't matter. It's a video game. Politics don't belong in video games in that manner. But if you paid attention to the void, if you paid attention to the voices and the thumbnails and everything that was trending on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and everywhere else, you would have believed that Hogwarts Legacy was like some horrible game that was, stealing people's children and sacrificing their firstborns and was full of racism and all this other stuff. And it wasn't. It was the best selling, most critically acclaimed game of the year. So you should never take anything at face value when it comes to the internet because people make money off of rage bait and fake news. So always dig deeper. And I'm glad that you found joy in Starfield. I think there's good gameplay there. It's not the best game I've ever played, but it's also not the worst game I've ever played. But it's definitely something that's for those of you who like Bethesda games, it's got some core gameplay there. Um, Planet would you choose in Star Wars? Eh. If you could only choose one, would you prefer to see an Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2 or a Book of Boba Fett season 2? If I had to choose, I would pick an Obi-Wan show, but I don't have to choose because it's Disney and they're going to produce more of all the good stuff. So, I think Boba Fett is fairly down on their list because of the fact that it didn't have the star power and it was sort of a filler show. I liked Boba Fett. Um, my niece and nephew absolutely love the Book of Boba Fett and they've watched it multiple times through. I just think your mileage varies with the Book of Boba Fett, whereas Obi-Wan Kenobi has much bigger star force, if that makes sense, much bigger star attraction, in that Ewan McGregor is a much bigger star, as is Hayden Christensen. Um, and yes, the Book of Boba Fett had some bookend stuff with Pedro Pascal, but for the most part, it was lesser known actors. Nothing wrong with that. The Book of Boba Fett was still a very good show. But at the end of the day, Obi-Wan Kenobi was a more star powered show and thus got more viewership. Plus, it was people coming in from the films who were really looking forward to seeing Darth Vader up against Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we were rewarded for that by the amazing lightsaber sequence that happened at the end of that show. So if I had to choose, I would choose Obi-Wan Kenobi. Um, but in a perfect world, we'll get more of all of the things because Star Wars is fun. What else we got going on in here? Somebody's working on a game. Every magic shop in your D&D campaign should have a discount bin of potions that have no labels. I freaking love it, man. The idea that that's crazy. The idea of a it's like if some of you might be too young to know what the DVD bargain bin was. They may still do them somewhere in some places. I don't know. I haven't seen a DVD bargain bin in a long time, but DVD bargain bins were pretty hilarious for being able to go in and just dig your way through and find things that you know were questionable, but at the same time, um, you know, they were things that if you had nothing else to watch, I remember, and sometimes you would find films that you might not have otherwise seen. I can remember back in the day. Yeah, I think it was a V. It might not have been a DVD bin. It might have been a V. No, it had to have been a DVD bin. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie now. It's with Patricia Arquette and God, he's an Irish actor. And now I'm blanking on the movie's name. It would literally flash before my eyes, and now it's gone. I may go look this up here in a second. I can't remember the name of it. The Stigmata, the Stigmati. Um, I'm gonna go look this up now. I'm gonna go look up her IMDb because I cannot remember the name of this movie for the life of me. And it's been a long time ago. This would have been a movie from like the 90s, probably. Oh, it's not that. It couldn't have been that far back. The Stigmata. Here it is, right here. This is one of those ones. Ah, this is something of Gabriel Byrne. This is who I was thinking of, and Jonathan Pryce. Oh shit, I forgot Jonathan Pryce is in it, and Nia Long, um, and Radis Sabragia. So this had a pretty good cast for its time, and Enrico Colantoni, who played a priest in this movie. So, if you've never seen this movie, The Stigmata, this was one of those films I found in the bargain bin years ago, and I ended up loving this movie. I ended up watching it like 3 or 4 times that summer, and just thought it was an absolutely phenomenal film. Um, so DVD bargain bins. So I love the idea of the magic shop in D&D being the bargain bin. Potions with no labels. I think for DMing stuff that could be a lot of fun. What's up, homeless bird? Many 80s action flicks were enjoyed thanks to those bins for sure. So my uncle on my well, it doesn't really matter whose side it's on. Um, I used to spend a lot of time at my uncle and aunt's house because my cousins were my age. Got one cousin that's a year younger, next brother's a couple years younger, so all of his cousins were hanging out. Grew up playing Xbox together and everything else, Nintendo 64. And my uncle was huge into like the 90s, like the 80s and 90s martial arts films. And so I watched a boatload of those bargain bin films at their house. Um, and like here's a good example. So on the high end, he would watch stuff that was like Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme, action, martial art action films. But then we would dive into the bargain bin, which with of things like Fist of the North Star, which there's the anime version, but then there was also the live action version they did with a bunch of like martial artists turned actors, and then Malcolm McDowell in the middle of it to try to bring some star power to the film. So at least they had like a C level actor, or he's at that point he was a C level actor. He'd already kind of gone from being a B list into the C list, and he was just still cranking out like 10, 15 films a year to make a paycheck. But a lot of questionable martial arts movies were watched, and I can't remember probably even 10% of the ones. But yes, some decent films like The Stigmata creeping up in there um, from time to time. But man, it's hit and miss. But I do love the idea. A magic shop in your D&D campaign with a discount bin of potions with no labels. I love it. Did you enjoy the Star Wars sequel trilogy as a whole, or was there a particular film that stood out the most for you? Um, I've talked about this before. I am very much Star Wars ride or die until I'm in the grave. The 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 Star Wars sequel trilogy that Disney did is not my favorite, but it has grown on me over time. I think The Last Jedi is probably the better of the three. The Rise of Skywalker is probably the worst Star Wars film out of all the Star Wars films produced. It's just not good. It's like the whole Palpatine is back, but how? It just at that point, I will criticize that film to the end and back, although I still liked elements of it, and I still think that it is in the Skywalker saga, it's an important film, overall. But I think out of those three, The Last Jedi is a pretty good film, and it's my nephew's favorite film of all time. Now he's almost 9 years old. The One of the first films I don't think it was the first, I think it was the second film I went to go see with him. We took him to see The Rise of Skywalker in theaters. And for him, I think he was, God, he was probably 5 or 6 at the time. And that was like the best experience for him ever because he got to go see a Star Wars film in the theater, which is why he took him, even though he was probably a little too young to fully understand what was going on. He was already hooked on Star Wars, and it was like he's never going to get the opportunity to go see this in the theaters again. So my brother and I took him, and all he cared about was lightsabers and you know. Um, I think The Last Jedi's it's not a bad film, but besides, we got the seagulls and my stick is better than bacon. Um, meme songs. My stick is better than bacon. Do, 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 do. My stick. Um, that's actually not a bad picture of your Cybertruck, Mr. Musk. Um, it still looks like something straight out of Cyberpunk 2077. I would not own one, I don't think. But it is a cool concept looking thing. What else we got here? Kitty cats. More coming to appreciate rings. Nick says, as I read Tolkien's scholarship on the Second Age and reread Lord of the Rings, the more I come to appreciate Rings of Power in my rewatch. The showrunners and everyone involved in the process have really achieved something special. I've truly experienced Middle Earth in this recent viewing. Um, this is going to be very interesting to me because Chris and I are getting ready to rewatch The Rings of Power in August to prepare for the season two, which I think is August 28th or 29th or something like that. And for those of you who were here when my channel first started blowing up and I got monetized in the height of like that first Rings of Power trailer coming out of the Super Bowl and my reaction to that getting like 50,000 views and that being like my first ever viral video. And then we did a whole summer of Rings of Power discussions. We did the Lord of the Rings read through, the history of Middle Earth. We did Mondays of Middle Earth, sorry, is what we called it. We did all the Lord of the Rings chapter by chapter, and then we did some of the Silmarillion. It took about 2 years to do all of that, and then I covered, the first season of Rings of Power, and I had critiques. The Tolkien fan in me critiqued that show at like a 2 out of 10, but then the general fantasy viewer in me watched it with my wife who has never read the books, and Chris gave it an 8 out of 10. And I would probably score it like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10 on a total generic fantasy level. But they did have aspects of it that were faithful to Tolkien-esque ideas and things. As an example, there is a song that the two Harfoot girls sing when they're going out on their adventure, right? And they're going across, and it's just like all these massive wide shots of the New Zealand countryside as these two little hobbit girls go skipping through the countryside, and they're singing this song about the country life and wandering and everything else. And it was a song that was created for the show, and it felt very Tolkien-esque. It felt like it fit and belonged in Middle Earth. The music was very well done. The scenery, it was all very well done. So there were aspects of um, the Rings of Power that I think, you know, do hearken to the showrunners at the very least having, or the showrunners, but just all the people involved. There is a passion for Middle Earth there, even if it's not the vision that I share. And I do agree with Raymond Feist, who is the author of the Rift Force saga. He's fairly active on his Facebook page, although he's less active now that he's getting older, but he's been very vocal about um, adaptations being made and how no one sets out to make a bad adaptation. The reality is just that the version of the characters that I see in my head is different from the version that you see in your head, and it's different from the version that he sees in his head as the author of things. And so at the end of the day, everyone has a different version in their minds of what the interpretation is for something. And the worst thing you can do as a fan is try to dictate that your vision is the only way something is allowed to be portrayed. And that's the beauty of adaptations is anybody who has the money to buy the rights and adapt a property into a different medium, whether it's television, film, theater, audio plays, audio books, fan fiction, whatever the case may be. If you have the money to get a licensed deal to make an adaptation, you get the right to make a version of the adaptation and interpretation that you have in your mind. And that is something that we should celebrate because not every author allows their work to be adapted. And I'm always going to err in favor of I would rather see more of something than not anything of that at all. Here's another good example. The Rohirrim film is coming out, I believe, this fall. This fall, isn't that the Ride of Rohirrim that's coming out this year? And they just started sharing the. I haven't done a reaction video to it yet. I just got back home a couple of weeks ago, and it's on my list of things to cover, as well as the upcoming um, Shire game that Tales of the Shire or Tales of the Hobbit. I forget what it's called. Weta Workshops is doing their very first ever. It's Tales of the Shire. They're doing their very first ever cozy crafting game, and it's coming out, and it's Tales of the Shire. So I'll be doing a reaction video around that as well. But the point I'm getting at is, if you look at the art style for the Rise of the Rohirrim or the Ride of the Rohirrim, whatever that movie's called, it's the Castlevania team who just did Castlevania for Netflix, and so it has a very anime style Eastern anime style as opposed to Western anime style. And some people have looked at that and immediately they have said, I'm not going to watch that because that art style looks like shit. And I think to myself, well, if you were actually a fan of J.R.R. Tolkien and you were actually a fan of Middle Earth and you actually love all things Lord of the Rings, you would watch that film and celebrate it regardless of the art style because what we're getting is more Middle Earth. And we didn't get that when I was a kid. We didn't have all these shows and films and video games and tabletop games and comic books and all this other stuff. None of that. We didn't get anything. It was literally Christopher Tolkien pushing out a History of Middle Earth book every now and again, and that was it. We got jack shit as far as like television and film and video games were concerned. Well, maybe not so much video games, but definitely television and film. That was, you know, between Bakshi's version in the 70s and Peter Jackson's versions in the early 2000s, we had a 25-year drought of nothing in terms of film and television stuff. So I'm always going to prefer to see more of, even if I don't necessarily agree with all the art styles. And Tales of the Shire is another good example. That game um, has a very unique, matter of fact, Tales of the Shire. I spelled it wrong. Doesn't really matter. But Tales of the Shire, very unique, very different art style here. Let's turn the audio down on this really quick. And you could see, I mean, we're going to do a reaction video to this at some point. I am going to be playing the shit out of this game when it goes live, by the way. But it's a that's a good example of it right there. That's a very good, it's a very cutesy, artsy, crafty game. And I'm going to play it. I don't think it's the best art style. Who cares? It's more Middle Earth, and I think that that's something that should be celebrated. So even if you don't agree with um, the Rings of Power, we should celebrate the fact that Rings of Power has brought more Middle Earth into our lives, even if you don't agree with all of the decisions they make when they're adapting. Pick says, I went to see the Shire last year. It was so beautiful. That's awesome. I'd love to go, but it's just not something I'm not going to. I'm not wealthy enough to afford to go. For Chris and I to go at the moment. I've priced that out, and for us to go for like, even if we were just to go for like 1 week, which we usually try not to go anywhere unless we're able to go for months at a time, which is why we haven't traveled in several years because once we bought the homestead, we used to. So, for those of you who don't know, my job before this was I spent about a decade in the travel industry as a travel photographer, travel writer, travel blogger, travel influencer. And so Chris and I went all over the world and did lots of projects. There's a whole resume that you can go look at if you want more information on that. And the big thing that we focused on was immersion travel. So we did a lot of blogger residencies for tourism boards where they would bring us in. We would stay for months at a time in a destination and we would fully cover that destination, 2 weeks in this place, 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 a month here. And we would move around within a region and just fully cover it with blog posts, videography, filmography, photography, and articles for clients, and so on and so forth. And so we try not to go anywhere unless we can actually spend some time on the ground. Even just to go for like a week. The last time I checked, price of flights and hotels and everything else. It was going to be like a minimum of $10,000, and it was like I'm not spending 10 grand to go on a week-long vacation. That just seems like an absolute, I could buy a car for 10 grand. So, um, when I used to do it for work, it was different because that's a write-off and that's a work expense, so it's totally makes sense to go do it because you're getting that as a tax write-off at the end of the year. But when it's just for purely leisure, I have a hard time spending 10 grand on something because it's just like oof. So we have not yet made it to New Zealand. There's really only three places that are on our bucket list of places we'd still like to go. Chris really wants to go to Japan and Egypt. And I do really want to do New Zealand at some point. So I'm sure it'll happen at some point, in the next few years. But it's also, we can't really travel right now because of our cats and the chickens and the homestead and everything else. At least not for extended periods of time. I mean, I just went up for 3 weeks to the U.S. and on a work trip, but Chris stayed home and took care of the cats and the chickens and everything else. I mean, we've got 25, 30 chickens, 8 cats. It's not something where we could just pick up and go now. It's like you can't just put them in a kennel, and you can't just have people come over. It's complicated. Um, anyway, travel. Oh, World Soul Saga journey begins on July 23rd. Yes, it does. I can't wait. Okay. Experience the beginning of the World Soul Saga. Pre-expansion update starts on the 23rd of July. We're going to get access to warbands, skywriting, cross-realm guilds. Ooh, I did not know the cross-realm guilds were going live on the 23rd. That's a big deal. And then the Radiant Echoes event goes live on the 30th. That's this thing right here and goes until the 26th of August. That's the event we'll be farming shards. I've already made some announcements about this on the channel. Our guild is prepped and ready to go. We've got one more weekend of Panda Remix, and then we're going to be prepping and going into the War Within content. We're going to get some new story, Defending Azeroth in the Shadows Below. This is when early access goes live, which is on the 22nd. I do have access. I do have early access, so we'll be starting. Um, New zones. Explore forest brawling new zones. Unleash your new skills and expand your class findings with a hero talent. So we've got Delves. Frodo, come here. Come here, Frodo. Come say hi to everybody. We were just talking about Lord of the Rings stuff, so it'd be good to show them. Chris just came in with Frodo. Where's Pippin? Oh, did she go outside for a little while? Did she go to the bathroom finally? What was she crying about? Yeah. Hey, Frodo. Are you being a snot? What a snotty little boy. He doesn't want to come see Daddy right now. Anyway, oh, don't let him do that, Chris. Here, bring him to me. That's not cool. No, van a provocar un pleito. Smeagol's sleeping on the bed. I don't want to. Which camera am I on? I'm on this camera. I can't turn this camera around. It's the other camera I can turn around. Hang on. Andrew says I didn't know cross-realm guilds were the thing. I would love to join your guild, but want to change my whole warband. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't had a discussion yet from an internal officer standpoint how we're going to be doing or what we're going to be doing with cross realms. We would prefer everybody be on our realm. Do you want to say hi to everybody? What's up, Frodo? What you do, big boy? What you do, big boy? You a happy boy? You were just attacking your brother, Smeagol. Smeagol's asleep on the bed, and you were over there attacking him, trying to take his spot. That's not very nice. You stink. Did you go get in the trash again? I think you went and got in the trash again. Here, go with mommy. What's up? Yeah. No, no, no. I ordered two. Did you open the? Oh, I'll leave that up to you. Okay. Okay. 8 new dungeons, a new PvP battleground, and then the season 1 starts September 10th, we're getting the first raid called the Nerubar Palace, and we get 4 mythic dungeons, 4 new ones, as well as 4 returning dungeons, a PvP season, seasonal delves, and class tier sets. So we're going to be super busy with the War Within this fall, everybody. I just announced, I think it was yesterday afternoon, I talked about my plans for World of Warcraft's launch of the War Within. We're going all in with our guild. So expect to see more. I'm definitely going to be streaming on. The plan is Wednesday nights. I'll be streaming World of Warcraft as well as Saturday nights. Wednesday nights is my night to play and do dungeons and group up with guild members, and Saturday nights is raid night. And then I may do some stuff outside of that, but I've also got a ton of other games I want to play. So we'll be seeing more of that. So great news on World of Warcraft's front. Um, Lots of fun stuff happening there. What else we got? Oh, I know something we wanted to talk about. Hang on. I forgot about this. This is on my list. Can we go dark mode here? It'll take a minute for it to kick in. I don't use it because when I put dark mode on, it makes Twitter look all sorts of weird. Um, so Obsidian accidentally posted the release date for Avowed on their website and then took it down. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean anything in the grand scope of when is Avowed coming out, but they did have a date up on their website of November 12th, 2024. Says here the launch plans were revealed thanks to a comment from game director Kerry Patel and the rest of the team that appeared in a now altered post on the Obsidian website. This is per IGN. There's no sign of the date now, but we captured a screenshot before it was removed where it says the last few months at Obsidian Entertainment have been fast-paced and exciting. Since we last saw you at the Xbox Developer Direct this past January, we've been busy with Avowed getting it ready for release on November 12th, 2024. Today we're thrilled to have revealed our first ever story trailer at Xbox Games Showcase 2024 to talk with you more about what we've shared. So the current version of the page is almost exactly the same besides the removal of the November release plans. It's strange to see the November date show up right after Xbox Games Showcase, which wrapped up just hours ago. So this was, when did this do this? June 9th. This was while I was on the road. I didn't pay attention to this because I was busy. I literally was in transit on the 9th on a plane. And so I completely missed this until I was flipping through YouTube last night and I saw this crop up and I was like, what? I didn't know they had done this. So I am tentatively penciling in Avowed for mid-November based on this. Again, it's not confirmed, so I'm tentatively penciling in Avowed. Now, I anticipate, given that we know that Avowed's probably only going to have a runtime of about 40 hours ish, this will be something that'll probably only take me about 2 weeks to play. I don't think there's going to be any way to extend it beyond that because it's just not going to be that long of a game. Now, will it have replayability where we go back and do multiple playthroughs? Probably because I'll want to do like different romances and different combinations, but at the very least, it'll probably I'm expecting like a 2 week game out of this. But I'm tentatively scheduling in Avowed for mid-November based on this. Now, they may choose to move that up. They may choose to push it back. We don't know yet. I still don't have any idea of when Indiana Jones, The Great Circle is coming out. We don't have a release date for the Starfield Shattered Space DLC. We don't have a release date for Dragon Age The Veilguard yet, so it's still all up in the air as far as those games are concerned. But I can't wait to play more. It's going to be a lot of fun. Um, I just need to know more. Like, it's gonna be a great game. I love the Pillars of Eternity games. Avowed is gonna be a lot of fun. Um, can't wait. We can turn that down, turn that off, turn that off, turn that remote off. Once we know more about release dates for all the other games, we'll be getting into those as well. All I know so far is Star Wars Outlaws um, on mm, 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 August 30th. Andy Lundquist says content creators and streamers that are part of creator programs. What do you find lacking? Co says Co-Carnage is mostly everything. Unfortunately, the really good ones are few and far between. It takes a lot of effort, constant communication for them to work, and I've seen them putter out more than thrive. I can speak to this from the other side of the equation, because in the travel space, I not only worked as an influencer, but I worked as an ambassador and consultant and someone who put together influencer programs and managed budgets to bring influencers on the team and get content creators and everything else. So the biggest issue is, um, so the question here is content creators and streamers, what do you find lacking about the programs? And I'm going to say the number one complaint that every single content creator streamer has is there's not enough money. They feel like there's not enough money in anything outside of like the top stratosphere. So the top stratosphere would be, you know, streamers like, let's say, I can't even think of guys right now. Destiny, Ninja, like top tier guys who are already making millions of dollars per month, Pokimane, um, folks like that, and they've got lots of different things, whether it's just sponsorships, their OnlyFans page, all these other things. They've got lots of things that are bringing them together, right? But they're already making lots of money and they have millions of followers. So those people get paid in the stratosphere. It's a ridiculous amount of money when it comes to those people getting paid sponsorships. But if you're talking like the normal people, here's a good example. Let's take a middle of the road indie studio that had a $250,000 budget to build their game, right? They spent all that budget on programmers, engineers, and the art team, and they've got a game that they're ready to launch, and they have no marketing budget. Maybe they've got $10,000 left over, and they want to start a community program, some sort of a content creation streamer outreach program. But they don't have a budget. So what do? Well, they offer commissions. And they say, well, we'll set you up as an influencer. You recommend product, you recommend game sales, and we'll give you a percentage of those numbers. Whether it's 10%, 25%, whatever the number might be, they'll work with someone. And that's the way a lot of these indie companies want to do that. But when they do that, the onus is on the content creator to sell copies if they want to get paid. And the reality is, most people will not go out and buy a game just because they saw a YouTube video or a TikTok stream or everything else. Now, if it's someone like Co-Carnage who has a dedicated audience, he's probably going to convince us. I wouldn't say probably, I know for a fact he does because this is just how you do it. You have a number that a certain percentage of people will always do the things that you recommend them to do. My number, it just depends on what we're talking about. But I know from like book sales, when it comes to book sales, I know for a fact, because I've been selling books for a long time now, that in between 5 and 10%, and that's just it's a flexible number that depends on what we're talking about, in between 5 and 10% of any given audience that I promote that book to will buy the book. So when I make estimations about how many copies of a book I think I'm going to sell, I can look at my numbers across all social media, newsletters, all the things in my network, and I know that I'm going to sell at least 5% in terms of copies. And that 5% is a, total off of everything, right? So when you're big and established, you can have those types of numbers. But even with that, like let's say that I know that I'm going to sell, let's say conservatively $10,000 worth of a book when I write something new for the first time. That's the immediate sales, and then there's the next 3 to 5 years of sales, which could equal another 15, 25, $30,000. It just depends on the book. But let's say there's $10,000 right out of the gate. If I go to that middle of the road studio and say, well, I need $10,000 to make this work, they're going to look at me and go, you're crazy. We don't have $10,000 to spend. And then you have 50 streamers that they're trying to work with, and they've got 50 streamers that all want $10,000. Well, now you're talking, you need a $500,000 budget to pay these people who are expecting to get paid. It's a very complicated scenario. It's not even just about the regular communication, it's also because so many content creators don't deliver good quality content. And from the delivery standpoint, when I'm the brand ambassador, um, overseer, and I'm the one accepting all of this content that's supposed to be used for the promotional campaigns, I'm looking and sifting through all this shit going, oh my God, this is poorly edited. They used trademarked music. They've got, this is going to be a copyright strike. It's a nightmare to try to teach the content creators how to produce content that can actually be used as part of a content creator program that doesn't breach copyright and all this other stuff. So it is a ton of work. The really good ones are few and far between because they take a lot of money to maintain, they take a lot of effort to run, and it's a huge, huge effort to make it all come together. Now, when it works, it can work extremely well, but the problem is having the people who want or can run it professionally, because it is a full-time job and you're asking people a lot of times to do things without a huge budget. Um, but it's it's a very big issue. You get a lot of content creators who just want completely unrealistic um, money. You've got these people who come in with, say 150,000 followers on YouTube, 150,000 subscribers. Let's say they're getting 35 to $50,000. Excuse me. Let's say they're getting 35 to 50,000 views per stream. They're making a few $100s every time they do a stream in terms of advertising revenue, and then if they're making another couple $100s on top of that in subscriptions, everything else. So let's say they're making 750,000, 750. I keep saying thousand. That's not right. Let's say they're making 750 to $1,000 every time they do a live stream. So that stands to reason that, a portion of that audience is possibly going to be interested in whatever it is that's being promoted. So you could take if we use the 5% number from earlier, you could say if you take 5% off of, $1,000, it's $50, and no one out there wants to run a sponsored section of their stream for $50. They all want, you know, $5,000. And that's when you get into the unrealistic expectations of content creators who think that everyone is made of gold. And it's just not the case. Content creation and is it can pay the bills, but unless you're talking top tier, you're not going to get that kind of money. I'll give you a good example. I am a low tier I'm a low tier streamer content creator. I have 30,000 followers on YouTube and not even 1,000 on Twitch. We just started Twitch a few months ago, multi-streaming, um, and my numbers vary dramatically in terms of my stream numbers and my content because I'm a variety streamer and I'm a variety content creator. So the downside to being variety is that when you cover a lot of different topics, the algorithm is doing this with your content because you're never ever focused on one thing that's always focused upwards. And there's pros and cons to this. Um, the pro of being a variety streamer is that if any of the games I play ever go belly up, I'm not screwed because I have lots of other games that I play. If I were to go all in on World of Warcraft, or if I were to go all in on Destiny 2, or if I were to go all in on New World or Dragon Age the Veilguard, or whatever live service game you can talk about, Starfield. If I were to go all in on those products and those products eventually go up in smoke or something, I'm out of a job. Now, if you go all in on something, it's very good from an algorithm standpoint because the algorithm says, especially the YouTube algorithm, but also the Twitch algorithm says, you produced a piece of content that is really hot around this topic. Let's say Baldur's Gate 3. The next piece of content you do about Baldur's Gate 3 is also going to do very well because the first one did very well. But if you go to a Baldur's Gate 3 piece of content and then you immediately turn around and do something about Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that you loved in the 1987 whatever, that movie review that you did has nothing to do with the Baldur's Gate 3 video. And so the algorithm doesn't know what to do with that because your followers are looking at, your followers want to see more Baldur's Gate 3, not, at least the algorithm says that. And so it's looking at this piece of content that you created on a movie and you're going, what? And then you go and produce a YouTube short on the Johnny Depp trial. And then you go produce something about Bitcoin, and then you produce another gaming video. You're all over the place. And so the algorithm is going, wait a second, what's going on? That's the challenge of doing a variety channel because you're all over um, the place. So when you're doing only one thing, it's much easier to continually keep your channel moving at a up upwards pace and getting those kind of views and those kind of numbers for everything. Whereas when you're doing it all over the place, the numbers can vary. Like I might do like I think the most recent game I did that got really good traffic was like the second playthrough of Starfield that I was doing was getting good numbers. Dragon's Dogma 2 a couple months before that. But then like this month that I was on the road, I didn't stream a lot because I was busy doing a work project. And then I came home and our numbers are way lower. And the reason is because I'm not playing any new games right now and I'm bouncing around doing lots of different things, covering news articles, and just waiting for Thursday when I'm going to do Flintlock, which, by the way, we're going to cover here in a few minutes. I've still got that prepped over here. We're going to go react to this video here in a minute. I promise I'm making a point. The point I'm making is that going back to the conversation about Co-Carnage and talking about how the good creator programs are really hard to find. Um, Earlier this year, I was having discussions about potentially looking at maybe joining an agency or finding an agency to represent me because I don't want to have to do it all over again. So when I was in the travel industry, I worked my way up from the bottom and became a top tier influencer over the course of basically 10 years. Um, and I know how much work it took to get to that top tier position, to get where I was getting all my flights paid for and first class tickets and five-star restaurants and five-star hotels and resorts around the world and 3 month stays in a destination paid for by the government. Like I've been there, I've done that, and I know how hard it was to get to that point. I'm 2.5 years into doing this on YouTube for a living, and I'm looking at the 10-year journey that I took, and I'm like going, I would much rather pay someone 25% of my earnings and have them be my agent and have them do all the footwork and all the legwork and go out there and just get me the deals, get me the sponsorships, get me on the talk shows, get me on the podcast. You do all that for me. I'll pay you 25% of everything that comes through the door. I would much rather just pay an agency. So I started talking to some agencies and they have some really it's the requirements. I have yet to find anyone who's willing to represent you until you have like 250,000 followers on any given channel, and they want you to have a minimum of 50,000 views per video that you release. Period. And it's like I looked at that and went, well, what do I need you for if I'm getting 50,000 views per video? I know how much money that makes in terms of ad revenue on YouTube and Twitch. We're talking at that point, you're going to be making $25,000-$30,000 a month in ad revenue between the two platforms, on top of whatever memberships you've got and everything else. So why do I need you? I don't need you when I'm at 250,000. I would like you when I'm at 30,000. But that's just not the way the industry works. So you either just suck it up and do the grind or not. I'll keep looking, but finding a good content creator program, as these guys say, is very challenging. There's not very many out there that are really good. They're very few and far between, and I probably ranted about that for longer than I should have. What's up, Bablonia? Bablonia says your warband is actually every character have any realm at any time, at least within the geographic areas. Correct. All right, what else we got here? Somebody doing consultation. This one, which we're going to react to here in just a minute. I'm going to actually repost and quote this. Maybe. Did it not? We're going to cover that in just a minute. Would you like to see more Clone Wars Clone Troopers in live action? Yes, please. I cannot wait for Star Wars Outlaws, everybody. Nyx is probably my favorite animal companion of the year so far. Um, it's gonna be so much fun. We're gonna have so much fun in Star Wars Outlaws. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. If you don't like Star Wars, that's fine. You're still gonna watch me play it. It's gonna be fun. Da, da, da. I just did a reaction video to this lightsaber sequence today on YouTube. It's a great conversation to have. It's a lot of fun. Ooh, looks like we've got a new video to watch. Hang on, I need to pull this up because this is going to go over at. Hang on, we'll look this up on the other. Hang on, I'm on the wrong. Where's this at? Oh, we already covered this? We've already covered this. I don't know why they called it. They called it something that it's not. This is just the open world um, video. It's not about character progression. That's bullshit. They mislabeled that. It has nothing to do with character creation. These kind of people are dipshits. If you can't play as a Jedi or Sith, I don't want to play it. Yeah. Whatever. You can play as a Jedi and Sith in Star Wars: The Old Republic, sir. Go play Star Wars: The Old Republic if you need to play as a Jedi or a Sith. Cheese wheel. Excuse me. Great Aid says, I was excited for this game already. You've made me more excited for it. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. By the way, if you're not following J. Michael Straczynski on X/Twitter, you need to be. If you think if you think you don't know who J. Michael Straczynski is, I guarantee you do know who he is. You just don't realize the things he's worked on, from comic books to television shows to films to novels to Straczynski has been everywhere, and he's worked on everything. And he is a very prolific writer. I love his Twitter feed. Um, Follow him. He's like, what a lot of folks don't know is that Romeo and Juliet was not intended to be an inspiring love story. It's the 1595 equivalent of a 1950s educational film warning against the dangers of youthful romance. Get emotionally involved too young and you'll die. Wait until you're older. Battlefront 2, by the way, the single player storyline for Battlefront 2 is hella fun. And I think a lot of people skipped over the fact that it even has a single player storyline. Um, Really good. The actress who portrays the main trooper leader and the story arc that she has with Inferno Squad. Oh man, it's a good single player storyline. Acolytes Eve, who's excited for tomorrow's finale? I am. I can't wait. We're going to get a reveal. We do know that the twins are going to be revealed to be. So this was the thing. Like the showrunner came out and said they are not this. They are not the virgins in the Force. A lot of people were up in arms about, well, Anakin was the only virgins in the Force. They're retconning Anakin's story. And she's like, we're not retconning Anakin's story. The girls are not the virgins in the Force. The Jedi think that they're the virgins in the Force, but they are not the virgins in the Force. The virgins in the Force is something completely different, which we will be discussing and researching and finding more out about during episode 7, but the twins are not what everybody has been trying to predict them as being, which is going to be. I can't wait. I've had a lot of fun with the Acolyte. There has been some, you know, the show suffers from if I will give it this. The one thing the show suffers from is it's the episodes are too short, which that's the same thing for every single Disney Plus Star Wars show that has come out. The episodes are too short. Like you can't convey enough information in a 30-minute episode to provide deep, meaningful storytelling. Action sequences and fun, absolutely. Like you can absolutely do that, but you're not going to get any deep, deep storytelling in 30-minute chunks, especially when you've only given 6 to 8 episodes of airtime to tell the story of a season. So in some cases, yes, some stuff within the shows, especially within the Acolyte, I would argue, feel I don't want to say rushed. Rushed is not the word I would use. I would say um, brushed over. Like what would be a better way to describe that? Like it's just it's like if I tell you I'm going to go make a sandwich, I don't need to tell you that I'm going to go make a ham sandwich with mayonnaise and mustard and lettuce and tomato and onion, and I like a little bit of bacon bits and a little bit of blue cheese and all this. I don't need to tell you the 50 things I'm going to do to make my sandwich. If I'm trying to get the information across, I just need to tell you that I'm going to go make a sandwich, right? And that's kind of what the Acolyte in some areas suffers from is that debate of, well, in some cases you might need to know exactly what's going on in the sandwich. And in other cases, you might not need to know exactly what's going on in the case of that. But in this case, they've chosen just to never ever tell you what's going on the sandwich. It's just sandwich, 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 sandwich. And so at that point, it can feel, again, I don't think it feels rushed, but I definitely think it suffers from too short of episodes. And I wish there was more time to do back filler. But it's a different audience for that show, so it is what it is. Mandalorian episodes sometimes feel like 15 minutes long if credits not counted. There are some episodes of The Mandalorian that are like 20-ish minutes. It's very yeah, kind of disappointing. Still fun, but yeah. Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars Outlaws. I can't wait. Dear video game developers, not all role-playing games need loot, open worlds, and bloat. 30 to 60 hour hub world RPGs are rare. We need more games like the Mass Effect trilogy. Um, I wouldn't call them rare. I would not call them rare at all. There is an interesting conversation to be had here about I don't have it in front of me right now. I'll have to pull it up for the next time we do one of these chit chats. Um, actually, why don't we just look it up right now? Manor Lords. No, it's not the dev, it's the publisher. There's an article here, and I need to find it. I hate the glaring of the white screen here. This is not the. I don't know that this is the one. Yes, this is the one. This is a great article. Yeah, we're gonna go over this really quick. So, this is part of the conversation uh, related to what we were just looking at about not every game needs to be open world bloat, right? That's what this relates to. Manor Lords publisher hits back at claims it should have better prepared to provide more post-launch content. And the quote here is not every game should be aimed at becoming a live service boom or bust. And I absolutely want to give all the credit and shout out to the publisher of Manor Lords for having the balls to come out and tell the Twitterverse and all the entitled little gamers to just fuck off with their whole your game has lost 90% of its player base within the first 2 weeks. Nah. This is a great discussion in here about this. So says in a post in LinkedIn, publisher Hooded Horse boss Tim Bender took issue with another LinkedIn post from a video game developer that called Manor Lords a pretty interesting case study in the pitfalls of early access development when a game with a small team and heavily marketed as such, hits the reality of a hungry audience, and as a result of a lack of updates, the concurrent users have plummeted since launch, which isn't that unusual given it's a current trend for a lot of early access titles that blew up these days. But given the huge number of wish lists and hype around it leading up to launch, there is something the developer and publisher should have been better prepared for. Early access is a marathon, and when you launch, you need to have your next major content expansion pretty much in the queue. The game has been out for 2.5 months, and there have been only 3 very small patches with no new features or content. As such, I've put the game aside and don't expect to look at it again for another 6 months, at which point I'll probably be focused on playing something else. It's really hard to get people's attention back once you've lost it. This is the person who's criticizing Manor Lords for not publishing fast enough, for not doing enough updates quick enough, and for having a concurrent user base that dropped off after they initially played the game, right? So Bender responded directly, the publisher responded to this. It says, this is exactly the kind of distorted, endless growth slash burden of expectations slash the line must always be going upwards perspective that causes so many problems in the game industry. He then went out to point out that Manor Lords sold 250,000 copies in the last month after selling over 2 million copies in its first 3 weeks, pointed to its very positive Steam review rating of 88% and its median play time of 8 hours and 48 minutes per player. And this is the quote. Players are happy, the developer is happy, and we as publishers are thrilled beyond belief. And yet here we are. Manor Lords is apparently a case study in the pitfalls of early access because the game has been out for 2.5 months and there have been 3 small patches, including one which has over 3,000 words and 10 single-spaced pages, leading to an argument about how concurrent players have plummeted since launch. And yes, we didn't maintain the 173,000 concurrent player peak, and apparently the dark reality that some people, after enjoying a purchase of a premium single-player title, might decide to go on and play another game. The horror! The horror! Someone might decide to go play something else. Oh no. Um, and that's the key here is that not every game needs to be a massive online live service thing. Why can't games just exist to be little single player chunks where you go in and play it for 10 hours, put it to the side, come back 6 months later? They've sold, you know, over 2 million copies, which is way beyond what any of them ever wanted. I believe there's some more quotes here to scroll down and see. Bender said that before Manor Lords came out, he told the developer station to expect all sorts of commenters talking about missed opportunities because he failed to grow as fast as they wanted and judging a game on the failure of some sort of expectation. I told him to ignore all of that, to focus on his core vision for the game, and to keep in mind that early access road is long and he shouldn't feel any sort of pressure from the expectations of others for both his own health and stress over the coming years of preserving the state of calm and peaceful mind that supports his creative vision. If this industry is to find a more sustainable path forward, we need to move away from the takes like the one that I'm responding to below. Success should not create an ever-raising bar of new growth expectations. Not every game should be aimed at becoming some sort of live service boom or bust. Great thinking here. A release should not begin an ever-accelerating treadmill on which devs are forced to run until their mental or physical health breaks down. This is a phenomenal response, and it's also a direct response to those people who ask for this kind of stuff and then in the same breath bitch about when studios have crunch. Because this sort of shit, when you're constantly expecting developers to have the ever increasing acceleration rate, and if you're not always going upward, you're failing, that's what creates crunch, and that's what creates burnout. And this was a very healthy response um, from um, from the publisher of Manor Lords directly against the people who are like, you need to, where's your concurrent player base? Blah, 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 blah. Not everything needs to be a live service game. And I think that goes back to what's being said. Hey, Spiegel. what's being said over here about not every game needs to be a massive open world filled with bloat. I've got male cats being naughty. Hang on, I gotta break this cat fight up. Naughty boys being naughty boys. Dun, 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 dun. What else we gotta look at today? Terminator Zero, an all-new animated series, premieres August 29th. Ooh. Starring Timothy Oliphant, Rosario Dawson, Sonia Mizuno, Andre Holland, and Ann Dowd from Skydance Production IG. Oh, I need to bookmark this as something I want to watch. Hang on. That's really cool. Terminator Zero. There was some really cool choreography in The Acolyte. 4 days to Footlock, everybody. Can't wait. You know, I don't know. I'm not following their page. I need to be following their page. I follow their Facebook or their YouTube. Oh, Starship Troopers Extermination is coming to Xbox Series consoles later this year. There's also going to be a single-player campaign where you play as Johnny Rico, voiced by Casper Van Dien. Hell yeah, man! Hell yeah! Like I didn't play the game. It looked pretty fun. Um, I would totally go back and rewatch that film just to go play that single-player storyline. Because do you want to live forever? God, I haven't watched that movie in forever. That's a good movie, man. That's a fun movie. The game looked fun. I don't remember why I didn't play it. Probably busy with something else. Kind of like the RoboCop game. I was too busy. I didn't have a chance to play it when it came out. All right, I think we might be ready to go watch that Flintlock video. By the way, you can never go wrong with the Nick Cage film. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, we already covered that one. All right, I think we're good. Let's switch over. So, this is from. Hang on, I accidentally started that too soon. This is from the developers of Flintlock. This is from their YouTube channel directly. A44 Games. How am I not subscribed to them? I thought I was. Oh, I bet I'm subscribed to my other account. We'll give that a thumbs up because we're about to watch it. So this is A44 Games. Um, they're the company behind Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, which I'm going to be playing on Thursday. It's dropping on all platforms, but it's also going to be a Game Pass Day 1 release, so I'll be streaming it via Game Pass. And apparently, this is an extended gameplay preview of a side quest. The video starts in Exile's Cradle, where you overhear a conversation between Sol and Murray discussing a lost bet between the two. Murray asks Nora to fight for him in exchange for any price, and Nora agrees. Nora then advances to the Arena Master and faces a variety of foes, each with unique moves and patterns. Watch as Nora uses all the weapons and powers in her arsenal to defeat them, and learn some moves ahead of our launch on Thursday, the 18th of July. So this is essentially one of those arena quests like you would get in Assassin's Creed. I remember like Assassin's Creed Odyssey had a really fun quest line related to the mercenaries who would hunt you down across the world, and you could hunt the mercenaries down, and there was a big arena on like an island that you could go to, and you could work your way up through the ranks. Also, God of War did this where you had the various challenges with the Valkyrie, and also the armored dudes, the time, what are they called? The time something. Fuck, I can't remember what they're called now. But essentially, it's when when you've gotten most of your abilities and you're very well geared out, and you're just looking to sort of like get some extra challenge. This is the kind of stuff you'll do. You'll go do these um, fight arenas. So apparently this is going to be a combat showcase here. Let's take a look. It looks absolutely fantastic. I can't wait.
You lost the fight fair and square, Moody. I'm in charge now.
So you dirty dog. You poisoned my champion. I know it. A rematch then. Winner takes all.
By the way, this video, she is wearing a completely different set of gear compared to what we've seen in some of the other videos we've watched. So this is really interesting because I know one of the things they've showcased in some of the past videos has been the diversity of gear sets depending on how you want to play your character. Do you want to play your character extra tanky? Do you want to play your character extra magic-y? Do you want to play your character more focused on the mobility? Very cool. I hopefully there's an option to hide the helmet because those helmets are hideous. The helmets are hideous from what I've seen so far.
You, lass, care to make a queen's ransom? You look like the champion I need. How about it? Winner takes all.
And what's in it for me?
Win this
I still
fight
think
for
that
me,
that's
you can name your prize.
Karlach's voice
All
actors,
right,
but I
then.
haven't seen any
You
confirmation
got yourself
yet.
a deal.
Fantastic. Let the arena master know when you're ready.
I like the shoulder holster for the flintlock for the
What are
pistol.
we doing in this place?
Getting rid of a few bandits.
By replacing their leader with another?
I'm not gonna let either of them take over, Enki. That's better.
So hang on, we just got. That's definitely a Dark Souls style.
I heard you're the one to talk to
Hang
for
on,
the
we're gonna
fight.
go back real quick.
I heard you're the one to talk to for the fight.
No. So she rested, and it says right here. It says replenish your flasks, grenades. Okay, perfect. I know you can do your
I heard you're the one
skills
to
and
talk
stuff
to
there
for the
too.
fight. I'm Muri's champion.
Muri found one already. Let's hope you die better than the last one.
Let's get this over with.
It's your head on the pike.
Friends! My worthless brother Moody has provided another champion for our slaughter.
Nice.
I don't fight for Muri. I fight for myself. If I win, this band obeys me. Deal?
You worthless traitor! How dare you!
Thank mercy for you, trench filler. Oh, I haven't had this much fun since I had my father garroted.
Open the gates!
We'll start with some light warm-up.
Preparing that steady aim. Wait, yeah. One down. Rifle shot. A little bit of a pistol to the face. Oh, that looked cool. Catapult. It definitely reminds me of like God of War, Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order. Well, I think the main difference here, Grade 8, is it's not a Souls-like. It's just an action RPG, so it's not a precision-based. This one has adjusting levels of difficulty, so you can play it on easy mode or whatever. Oh, that's a lot of enemies. Oh yeah. Woo. Stay out of the way. Hell yeah. Shoot him in the face. What's next? I love some of the finishing moves that they show off here. Oh, ho, ho, run, 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 run. I'm also still really intrigued by what they're doing with black powder to have that be like part of the story element too.
Dirty rat! Wasted skin! Do I have to do everything myself? Good
Come on
luck,
down,
brother.
buddy.
You're a braver man than I.
Run, Moody! Pray I never
Oh, you missed. Nice parry. Move, move. Oh, snap. Oh, that was cool. Suck him up in the air and then shoot him while he's stunned. Yeah, Greedfall. That's a good example. By the way, Greedfall 2's coming soon. I think they were doing some sort of an open beta or closed beta soon for Greedfall 2. I saw Slattered Gaming mention it. I don't think I'm going to participate. It depends on my schedule. But I will play the final version of
By your
Greedfall
rules,
2 when it comes
I'm
out.
in charge. So here's my first decree. You will not raid Wanderer's Rest anymore. You will not harass its people. And if I hear you getting back to your old tricks, I will find each and every one of you and kill you myself. Now open the damn door.
Got a new helmet.
They ambush us on the way out.
They wouldn't dare. That's better.
Oh, so that's a quick preview is what that was. What they've got going off. Ugh, I'm on the wrong mouse. Wrong mouse. Thursday, 18th of July. The game is coming to PS5, Xbox Series X, and I believe PC as well. I will be playing on the Xbox Series X as part of Game Pass. So definitely follow along for more. I'll be doing daily coverage of the game. Today is Monday, right? So this video will air on Tuesday. I'll have something coming out on Wednesday, and then I will be playing it on Thursday. I don't know what time it goes live Thursday morning. If it goes live Wednesday night, I might play early Thursday morning, but I just don't know what time it's going live on Thursday. We'll find out soon enough. But I am going to be playing Flintlock: Siege of Dawn. That's the next new release I'll be playing here on the channel. After that, I don't know what I'm playing yet. I've been looking at various things, trying to figure out something that's going to fill the gap because let me look here if I have this pulled up because I anticipate that I don't think that this will take me more than a week to beat unless it's some sort of 60-hour sprawling RPG. I'm expecting a 30-hour game, 30 to 40-hour game, which will beat in about a week. So which means I'm already starting to look ahead and say, what am I going to be playing from like the 24th or the 25th of July until the 22nd of August when the War Within launches. I'm open to suggestions. I need to look at new games. I do have Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I've got some Starfield stuff I'm doing in the background. I'm trying really hard to do a shipbuilding thing, but I got to be honest, I'm not feeling shipbuilding on the Xbox at all. The controls to manipulate the modules on the controller just flat out suck. And I've watched people who do it on the mouse and keyboard, and I'm like, oh wow, it's kind of like Enshrouded. I love playing Enshrouded with the controller, but I hate the crafting in Enshrouded with the controller. Mouse and keyboard, the crafting in Enshrouded is very enjoyable. Controller crafting sucks. And that's how I'm kind of feeling about like module placement and everything else in Starfield on the Xbox with the controller just kind of sucks. And I was supposed to make I really wanted to make a shipbuilding, not guide per se, but just my experience at shipbuilding. I'm not having a lot of fun doing it. I'm not going to lie. I love Starfield. I love the idea of shipbuilding. Not having fun with it on the controller, so we'll see if I do that. But I know I'm going to be doing some more Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. People keep asking me about um, Elden Ring. I just don't know. Great 8 said I'm playing Sherwood Builders on Xbox and the navigation of base building. Yeah, that's a perfect. So this is funny. I just recorded my Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Sherwood Builders this morning, which is airing not tomorrow, the day after. I think that's airing on Wednesday morning. Um, and the um, the base building in that game is another good example of something that's better with the mouse and keyboard. Because right now I'm playing the Xbox version of Sherwood Builders, and I played the PC version of Sherwood Builders like 3 months ago. And in that video, I commented on how like I would play the game with the controller, but as soon as I got to the base building, I would switch over to mouse and keyboard. And you can't do that on the well, I mean, I suppose I could have had a mouse and keyboard for the Xbox, but I don't. And I'm not gonna go around the back and just plug stuff in for one game. So yeah, that could be a little funky. Elaine Kristen saying, I'm wondering if you do reactions. We just did a reaction to this video right here. And this will be coming out. You're watching on Twitch. So I'm multi-streaming on YouTube and Twitch right now. I do every day around 11 a.m. Central. Twitch is the main, excuse me, YouTube is the main channel we've been doing for several years now. Twitch, I just started doing a few months ago. But all of the reaction videos, like what we just did here, go up on YouTube after the fact. So if you want to watch my reaction videos, um, in real time. You can tune into the daily streams. Not every stream is a reactions day. Like most of the days, I just straight up play games during my streams. And today we're doing something a little bit different. But I do usually at least one or two reaction videos every day. I also do movies and TV shows. I would say head over to the YouTube channel, Elaine. I do TV shows, I do movies, we do books, we do tabletop, we do video games, nerd culture, all things Star Wars, Star Trek. I'm getting ready to review episode 8 of The Acolyte airs tomorrow. We're doing that. Um, I've got some, I've got a series that I do not every month, but regularly, like 3 or 4 times a year, I update it. It's called my favorite sci-fi series of all time. So I go in and I talk about things like Futurama and Farscape, Battlestar Galactica, um, Jericho, Jeremiah, um, Babylon 5. I talk about all sorts of the shows that I like, books that I read, things of that nature. The YouTube's definitely got more of that stuff on there. So definitely do reactions to movies. And then, like as an example, Chris and I just finished watching the second season of Dexter last night, which I've seen Dexter before. She has not. Um, so And I know we got Rings of Power Season 2 is coming up. We'll be doing a rewatch of Season 1 of Rings of Power on in August, and then once Rings of Power hits, I'll be doing weekly episode updates. As the episodes air, I'll be doing reviews and discussions in between. We'll definitely bring back we may bring back the Mondays in Middle Earth podcast just for season 2 of Rings of Power. You never know. Lots of stuff can happen. All right. What time is it? 12:15 my time. I think we can probably go do this. Where's my Hang on. Checking something out here. This is Monday, isn't it? I gotta make sure my alarm is set because we're supposed to do EverQuest 2 tonight. I gotta make sure my alarm because otherwise I will forget. We are Monday. We're gonna go play some Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, everybody, for the rest of the stream. I gotta change the camera over. Actually, we could use this camera, right? I was using the other one because it's smaller. I think I'll stay with the bigger one today. Why not? However, I have got to bio before we get started, everybody. So I will be back in a couple of minutes. We're going to continue onwards. All right. What are we working on? I think we could just head out to the map and just start working on stuff because we have a ton of stuff we need to do. I should have
Let
gotten
us
some more
not
coffee.
hesitate.
I think for the moment this will work, although I am going to need her if we go to that one location. So maybe we'll grab her and go to that location first.
Together we stand.
Oh, I forgot to talk to Thorn. My bad. Because we found his drow prey and we chose to let her go. He was back behind here. So, I met Kalisa. Forn's melancholic expression remains calm, but his entire body tenses and his fingers wrap around the handle of his weapon. Under what circumstances? I hope you seize the opportunity to kill her. So I'm going to say, are you certain of your allegations? He lowers his head and says in a hollow voice, I am. Her misdeeds are terrible and proven with absolute certainty. Well, she claims she doesn't serve the demons. Of course she does. In an attempt to buy her life, she would have stooped to the boldest and most egregious of lies. Whose word do you trust? Hers or mine? Well, unfortunately, I let her go. After giving you a saddened look, Forn stares off into the distance. Your decision is regrettable. I'm afraid that in doing so, you've condemned her many future victims to death. I suppose it just means that bringing this hunt to a close falls upon my shoulders. Perhaps you have spent too much time among the other races. He looks you in the eye, his face expressionless. You've grown too close to their world if the sight of an abominable crime committed by one of our own doesn't foster in you an immediate desire to stop it. You should return home, at least for a time, so you can remember who you are. Well, you know what? I don't share your disdain for the other races. After a pause, he nods calmly. My apologies. It was not my intent to appear contemptuous. Perhaps I am conceited when it comes to judging other nations, but I've spent most of my life in Kaonin, where things are different than how they are here. But since my road has taken me here, I will learn to accept and understand other races. Kaonin is the homeland of the elven races on Golarion. It was almost completely evacuated by the elves just before the fall of the Sarstone. They only recently, by elven standards, returned to Golarion to reclaim their ancient homeland and have become an isolationist realm, allowing few non-elven visitors into their mist-shrouded capital, Eadara. Alright. Now we can go out on the road. Alright, we are heading... this one, because this way I have to go to it with Camellia, so...
Let's prove their logic is lacking.
I will see this through.
Nice. Oh, select one of these spells, open the context menu, and select Use Automatically, and the spell will move into the active slot. The character will automatically use it instead of their equipped weapon. What?
I stand
Do
ready.
that.
I'm always open to ideas.
Okay.
A bright future awaits us.
Are we in trouble yet?
I'm here. Where else would I be?
Open your heart to me.
I will not falter.
So I guess you have to have a cantrip to do that, right? Don't I have cantrips as a druid? Surely I have cantrips. Yeah, level 0. So it's got, see, it's got snowballs set up right now for some, which I didn't set up. It set up that on its own. Let's try this for the moment.
Godspeed.
I don't know why it set that up automatically. Hang cultist. Let's grab it. Let's see how this works now that I'm using cantrips instead
Save
of
the
weapons.
last one for me.
Our time has come.
That worked rather
Let
nicely.
us press on.
But I can still use the bow if I want to. All sorts of random encounters today.
Defeat is not an option. Let us not hesitate.
Out of sheer curiosity, can I change my level zeros? Nope. I only have the divine zap.
Together we stand. We march ahead.
Alright, here we go. We have the right NPC for the job here. Ah, there you are. At last. You certainly took your time. I thought perhaps you got lost in the way. I was already regretting not drawing you a map. Horgus's relief is palpable even through his grousing. It's a tragedy to see one's house in such a sorry state. Alright, so his manor contains several items that are of great value to me. I wish to retrieve them. Once you take a stroll through my house, peek into the rooms. If you find anyone, kill them on the spot. When the house is empty, give me a signal. Well, just like, I love strolling around fancy manors. So you're not coming in with me? The very notion. You think I hired guards to do my bidding just so I can put myself in danger? No, no, no. I've taken on my fair share of risk already today. Camellia says, at the same time you took the risk of coming here even though you're well aware of the danger. What is it that draws you here so strongly like a moth to the flame? Camellia, that's enough. So, ooh, seems to hit a sore spot. She quickly covers the smile that flits across her face. Alright.
Our path leads on. I will guide us.
Pick that lock.
This is my kind of work.
Box filled with a variety of whips and floggers. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but whips and chains excite me. Ooh!
Godspeed.
Quick save.
Yet another obstacle.
What is that? Oh, abracadabras.
Done with you.
I stand ready. Let us press on.
I don't need another one of those. What is that? Tainted fowl?
We march ahead. Our path leads on.
I refuse to accept their statement.
I will see this through. I will guide us.
Got a whole bunch of stuff in here. I mean, we might as well loot all these books and stuff, which I can sell later. No. Go in here.
Godspeed.
Spells, which we can use later. Oh, we just all leveled up. Well, guess what we're about to do? Level 4 Druid, yes please. Ooh, I get to increase a stat. I'll take another point of dex. Ooh, I can do wild shape to wolf now.
Our time has come.
Plus 2 size bonus, movement speed increased by 20 feet, gain 1d6 bite and a trip ability. Very cool.
Let us press on.
Huh? Oh, yes, what?
Just auto.
Anything new?
No reason to pause.
Auto.
Together, we
All ears.
Who, me? Ask nicely.
You can trust me. I'll watch your
All right,
back.
we've now leveled
Let
up
us not
everybody.
hesitate. I will not falter.
Hold that thought. We need to do one more thing. Spell book. I will take another Cure Light Wounds. I will take Nature's Ally. Yeah, let's try Nature's Ally. Let's take another. Take another Magic Missile. Acid Arrow. Woot! I can now cast spells with Sela. You can challenge this creature to fight you. I'll take Veil of Heaven, I think. Yeah, that sounds cool. He can't do any spells yet. I'll do a couple of those. Camellia? Yep. Haze of Dreams. Affected creature becomes frightened. Let's try it. Oh, it's Scare. That's the one I'm thinking of. So hang on, let me get rid of this one. And let's do some Burning Hands maybe.
Together we stand.
Alright, so we've prepped everything. We still need to sleep and rest so we can get the stuff, but that can be done in a little bit. Dun, 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 dun. I just confirmed that Flintlock does have an easy story mode, which is perfect. That's what I'll be playing from the beginning. Perfect.
We march ahead.
What do we got in here? Core the garden is blocked. Open is impossible.
Our path leads on. We will prevail. Do not hold back.
We're blocking the door. Come on, guys.
Did you see that?
I will see this through. I will guide us.
Ah, not this time.
Really? We're not even using the
Godspeed.
lockpicks? That seems to be a bug of some type. Here.
My tail is restless.
How come we're not even using the,
Fine. Something wrong?
Some of these chests appear to not work the way I want them to.
I'm here. Where else would I be?
What's on your mind? I wonder.
Magritium Turinos. Magritium Turinos.
You are my favorite
Our
aid.
time has come. Let us press on.
Alright, I think we've almost cleared this first level.
That is quite a discovery. Let us
No!
not hesitate.
No!
We march ahead.
That's the
I will
danger
not
of
falter.
what we just did. We've got a party and they just ran through the trap while I was trying to single player
Our path leads
run
on.
in and disarm it. That hurt. Alright, we're going to the second floor.
Can we retreat already? Hot.
I stand ready. I will guide us.
Loot all the goodies from his house. What you get for hiring adventurers to do your dirty work, buddy. Our paycheck is literally whatever we want.
Godspeed.
The heartbeat quickens.
I will see this through.
Alright, we got a door.
Did we find trouble?
Ah, poodoo.
No, they did.
Didn't know I had it in me.
Our time has come. Let us press on.
Okay.
I was successful in my
I'll
search.
happily take whatever this is. Spell. Scroll displacement, remove disease, stone skin. Collect them all. Oh, hang on. So someone tried to offer me a free key for their game, and I responded back and said, I appreciate the offer of a free key, but unfortunately, free keys don't pay my bills. What's your budget for sponsored content? Since you're looking for advertising for your game, I have a variety of options available and would be happy to discuss meeting your needs based upon what your unique budget is. And the typical response, unfortunately, we don't have a budget for release this time. So remember how we talked about earlier when we were doing the reaction stuff about how you get all these little independent studios who don't have a budget for marketing. So their idea is they're just going to offer free keys. They're going to shotgun any YouTuber they see, any Twitch streamer they see, they're just going to offer free keys. It's not a very smart strategy because you're not going to get the right fit that way. But what's really unfortunate is they're not even willing to, like, they may have something, they might not have anything, but they won't even entertain a discussion. It's just like they just shut it down, which goes back to Co-Carnage speaking of how hard it is to find a good content creator program, because most people, it's just, they just want something for nothing. And it's like, oh, exposure, and it's like, your exposure doesn't put food on my plate, it doesn't fill my cat's tummies, it doesn't fill my tummy, it doesn't pay my electric bill, my internet bill. I got bills to pay, man.
We march ahead.
Let's prove their logic is lacking.
Might be trap, might be treasure.
Where's the trap? I don't see the trap. Alright, let's pause. This is a tougher foe than normal. Let's do an acid arrow. Let's have Woljif do a magic missile. And let's have Nenio also do a magic missile. Did quite a few resists on that one.
Together we stand.
Yep, that was the big baddie.
Our path leads on. That is quite a discovery.
Ooh, that's locked.
I will guide us.
I am helpful, am I not?
We don't even have an
Godspeed.
option to. Oh, there it went. Hold up. What do we got here? Short bow. Counterfeit. Well, let's check out the.
I will not falter. Let us not hesitate.
Check out that bow. Short bow of code. Can she even use it? She can.
I stand ready.
What about Woljif? No, he's dual wield. That's right, he's dual wield. Well, let's give her that instead of the crossbow. She can't use it. Really?
I will see this through.
Alright, well, let's give Horus the signal. Oh, they're gonna open up the chest. Oh, it's a secret door. Follow me, he says. Family secret's about to be revealed. It's so thrilling.
Let us press on.
paintings right where I left them. Very good. Horgus Gwem, thanks you for your help. Succeeded at a perception check. There's something off about the paintings in front of you. The blonde-haired boy in the Gwern family colors doesn't look like Horgus in the least. The family depicts Horgus alongside an unknown half-elf woman and a little girl who bears a striking resemblance to Camellia. So who's that in the paintings, Horgus? So you've noticed. Seems there's no point in hiding it anymore. I have two secrets, you see. Camellia is in fact my daughter, and I am not the real Horgus Worm. So you're not. My real name is Darian Witt. My parents were the servants of the real worms at the mansion on the eastern edge of Mendev. The Grems were generous and noble, but short-sighted. They burned through most of their fortune on charity, when instead they should have been taking better care of guarding the mansion. When I was 10 or so, I used to play in the garden with the real Horgus, who was just my age. The demons can. Horgus ran. I went in the opposite direction. He was captured and killed. I wasn't. Crusaders came to aid us, but I was the only one who survived. They asked me my name, and I said I was Horgus Worm. That's the story. Such a heart-wrenching tale. Never fails to bring a tear to my eye. Well, you were just a scared child. I have nothing but sympathy for you. Besides, your lies didn't hurt anyone. Oh, the guilt. Sticking with them. So Camellia is your daughter. Illegitimate. Her mother was half-elf. You discovered my most terrible secret. Alright, what can I do now? Reveal my truth, reject the name, and you're allowed to sink into oblivion? No, the name will not be forgotten. Alright, I'll keep your secret. Keeping secrets is even easier when you're dead. What are you planning on doing now? I shall reward you handsomely for your help, and then I shall burn these portraits. Alright. Got some coin. He's taking the paintings off the wall.
We march ahead.
Won't take that long.
This one was beyond me.
How is it beyond you when you have a 95% chance?
I hope you appreciate this.
Oh wow, that's a magical breastplate.
Our path leads on.
Well, that'll be Sela who can use it. A breastplate +1.
Together we stand. I will guide us.
We should go back to the inn. So we can get a good night's sleep. Oh, was there a door we missed? No, it's the locked one, never mind. Herpa-derpa!
Let us press on.
Did I miss anything? Nope. I do wish to enter this location. And I think really just all we need to do is do a rest so we can get back to full health and Get all our new spells memorized since we have a bunch of new goodies. Craft a hearty meal. Whew.
I heard you talking to your invisible friends. You know, I have a friend too.
I can't imagine what spirit would talk to a gutter snipe like you, and I don't want to.
Cranky peeps. Oh, I've played. Erudite asked how is the druid compared to the rogue. I've played the rogue in so many different games before that it just was feeling sort of dull. So I'm having a lot more fun with this, especially as I continue to flesh this out. I'm still relatively low level. I'm only like level 5 now. Demons! The demons are attacking! Talk to Irabeth as soon as you can. Help us defend the tavern! So I'll probably do a low level video talking about the druids soon. Oh, I guess I'm only level 4. So I haven't even hit level 5 yet. It's a lot different than D&D druid. A lot different. Baldur's Gate 3 druid plays a lot different than the Pathfinder druid. For sure. It's interesting, but I did choose Hunter as my one of the sub things so that I could use a bow while being
Our time has come.
druid, which is fun. I still haven't tried wolf form yet. Can I not use it outside of combat? Oh, there it goes. I just had to... There we go. What did that do? Wild shape return. It's a free action. Return to your normal. And then I burned it for that session. Okay, so I would need to sleep to get it back. Cool. Alright. Well, I spell lunch, and I'm 2 hours plus in, which means it's time to wrap it up, everybody. Thanks to everyone who was here today for the experiment. I'll be doing more of these. So the first little bit of the stream, hour and a half or so, we just did reaction videos and browsed Twitter and hung out and chatted. And I recorded a bunch of videos. So this afternoon I'm going to be going away and cutting a whole bunch of content out for YouTube Shorts and TikToks and future YouTube videos. I've also already got some long-form content scheduled out on YouTube. So tomorrow morning we've got my review of the first Descendant, followed by my Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Robin Hood Sherwood Builders on Wednesday morning. Also tomorrow evening. No, it won't have till Wednesday. Wednesday morning is going to be my review of the final episode of Star Wars The Acolyte. Tomorrow we'll probably do some more of the same. I've got some more news I want to cover, and I got some R&D I need to do for some other stuff. So we'll be live again tomorrow around 11 a.m. Central Time. In the meantime, don't forget, if you're watching live today, we're live on YouTube and Twitch. So if you're watching on Twitch for the first time, get to the YouTube channel, because I do 6 to 8, sometimes more videos per day, as opposed to on Twitch, there's only one thing that happens per day, and that's the multi-stream. So if you want all the up-to-date stuff, game reviews, reaction videos, the YouTube shorts, all that other stuff, make sure to hit up the YouTube channel. If you're a member, stay tuned. I got another member video coming to you either today or tomorrow. And of course, don't forget TikTok / Instagram / Facebook / X / Discord / Patreon for all of your Renfail needs. Thanks to everybody who supports, keeps me on the air full time. See you guys tomorrow. Actually, I might be live tonight. What is tonight? Monday night? Let me check the weather real quick. We're supposed to do EverQuest 2 tonight. At 6 Central. I know my alarm is set, but I want to make sure about the weather. It doesn't look like it's going to do anything major until like 9 p.m. So it should be good tonight. So I'll be back probably around 6 p.m. Central, or slightly before that. We'll be streaming some EverQuest 2 tonight. So at least that's the plan, unless I hear otherwise. See you guys next time.